Hello everybody, welcome to Project Beauty, where we talk about project panning and everything beauty related. My name is Jen. I'm going to be updating my eyes project pan video today, and this is coming out of January and coming into February, so you know I'm bringing in all the pink things. There is a ton of other pink palettes that I have in my collection that I could have brought in, but I have a stack that I'm going to show you in a second. But let's talk about the stuff that I brought in for January. There are a few things that are missing, and I'll explain why in a second, but let's just get started. So before I begin, this is created by Deb from Debbie on YouTube. Please go and check out Deb. She finally is back, and I'm so excited. I have seen her back. I have seen Jaylon back. I have seen Kim filming for a bit, and it just feels so nice to see those girls back on YouTube. So Deb created this to be sort of just like a free for all. Use your eyeshadows however you want to use them, create your own goals, make it simple, don't put any pressure on yourself, just have fun. And it runs from January 4th 2025 to December 31st of 2025, and I stands for enjoy your eyeshadows. Super awesome. So January was a decent month. I tried quite a few palettes that I really enjoyed, but we have a little bit to unpack. So the first thing I have is the Give Simple Kind of Life eyeshadow palette, which looks like this. And I recently got this around the holidays. It just came out around the holidays for last year. And I love this palette. This is definitely something I will travel with for sure. I think it's such a beautiful palette. For me, it has everything I need. It has a brow bone shade, it has a crease shade, it has a deeper crease and outer corner shade, and a deepening shade, and also two really fabulous lid shades. This is definitely perfect for day to evening, and I love this little palette. I'm definitely going to be bringing this with me when I travel in the future, and it's definitely a really great palette. Next, I have the Spice ABH palette, which is another one that just recently came out. And this was good. This is not bad. It's not high performing for me. It's not like the most amazing palette I've ever used in my life, but it's nice. It's definitely nice. I do like the fact that there are little impactful kind of shimmers and stuff in here, but it's not like, oh my God, mind blowing. You know what I mean? So I do love it, but I don't like love it. So I'll give it a like. Next is the Pat McGrath Passion Fleur eyeshadow palette. Now that one is no longer with me because I have passed it along. And it was a pink quad that had, of course, a purple and like 3 shimmers inside of it. The shimmers were mediocre at best, and that purple is in pretty much every single Pat McGrath shade that I own, or palette that I own, I should say. So there was no reason for me to keep it in my collection, so I have passed it along. Next is the Sugar palette from ABH, which is similar to the Spice palette. I have also decided to pass that one along. So I've decluttered that one as well because I just felt like that color story was not for me. I did not enjoy wearing it. It felt very like not a Jen vibe. I thought it was going to be great and I had to have it, but I like this one much better than the Sugar one. Not saying that this is bad. When I say I like it, it's great. But yeah, the other one was not good. It was just not a color story for me. The performance was good, but the color story of it was just not for me. So that one is gone. Next, I have the What's Up Dragon Eye palette. And how gorgeous is this packaging? Oh my gosh. This was an hit out of the park palette for me. Absolutely beautiful. The color story in here is fabulous. I used this yesterday again a couple times this month. It was wonderful. I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful palette. When I say this month, I'm filming right at the end of January, so I can get this up for February 4th. So just so you guys know, when I say this month, I mean January. But absolutely fabulous. Really love this. Definitely one of the tops. Really great palette. Then I have the Pat McGrath Celestial Nirvana Nude Allure, which is this one here. Right? This is Nude Allure? Yeah. I just want to make sure because yeah, her palette, sometimes it's like hard to find the name, but this was Nude Allure. And this was a really good palette. It was, again, boring shimmers. I'm just going to take that off. Boring kind of shimmers. They look like they would be really nice on the eye, but they're kind of like, kind of boring. I mean, there's no like super like pow to them. They're just sort of, you know, there. They're just sort of like a sparkle that we would get from the drugstore saying it was metallic. You know what I mean? Like it's not like incredible formula that, oh my God, I need to run out and buy it. It's not like the special shades or anything like that, but it applied nice and it stayed nice on the eye during the day. So it was good. It was definitely a quality palette. I'm not trying to be too hard on these things when I'm talking about them. I just mean, like, I guess because it's Pat McGrath, I expect more. So for what it is, it's a good palette. Next is, so Patrick Todd Duo, Talk to My Team. I do actually enjoy this. Do I have shades that are probably more impactful and stuff? Yes, but I actually thoroughly enjoy these shades a lot. I think this is a little great duo. I wouldn't buy, I don't think, more than one. I would actually maybe buy one more, but that's about it. I think that's a lot of money to spend on 4 shades. That's like almost $100 to spend on 4 shades. So I don't know that I would go out and run and get another one, but this duo that I have is fabulous and I really enjoy the shades. The next one I have is the Standout. Absolute Standout. I love this. It's the Bella Beauty Bar Ultraviolet Eyeshadow Palette. And when I tell you I love this, I can understand why Deb loves the Menagerie Flight Club palette because of the purples in it, because this, I'm telling you, is gorgeous. First of all, it's a holographic cover with purple writing. Perfection already. And then when you get inside of it, these colors are great because you have your brow bone shades, you have your crease shades, and you have deepening shades. And you can go day to night with this. And the shimmers are phenomenal. When I want a shimmer, this is what I'm talking about. I want it to shine. So we'll show you side by side with that Pat McGrath shimmer. Seriously, like, no contest. Let me try and wipe this off now because there's a lot of pigmentation to it. So it's just absolutely fabulous. I like it so much that I wish I got a backup of it. I'm not gonna lie. It's absolutely wonderful. So this is definitely my peak of the month for sure. The next one I brought in was, these last two were brought in sort of at the end of the month. I didn't actually write them down and show them in the initial, but sometimes I will bring in extra palettes that I don't show when I bring the first initial amount of palettes in, because I've used all the other ones enough and I think I can bring in more, and that's when I bring in more. This one I got really new, and I did a video on it in the early part of the month. And so I decided to bring it in so that I could try it right away. And that is the Ensley Rain Light in Your Eyes palette. Now, I'm not going to go into a whole big spiel. I actually touch on Ensley Rain a little bit in my declutter video that's coming up in the near future. I love the products from the brand, and I was very disappointed after getting a comment in my comment section about there being some not so great behaviors and support of negative things by this brand and using the brand to like certain things and such. So I wasn't extremely impressed with that. And so I'm going to take a little bit of a step back from the brand. I'm still going to use what I own already and what I've already purchased, but I'm going to take a teeny step back for a little bit and see if they do better in the future. Just like I did with Hourglass, when I felt like they weren't inclusive enough, I took a step back from the brand. And when I felt like, after watching creators of, women of color, I decided that after seeing people who supported the products coming out, and I felt it was more inclusive based on their opinions, that made me feel comfortable enough to start buying from Hourglass again. So I'm going to do the same thing with Ensley Rain, and I'm just going to take a little step back because LGBTQIA+ and neurodivergence, I have an autistic son, I have ADHD, I fully support neurodivergent community, and I also definitely support trans and LGBTQIA+ community. And so I'm just personally, I'm not telling anyone what to do. I feel like you should spend your hard-earned money where you want to spend your hard-earned money. Some people don't go down that road of caring where people, what they do in their spare time. They just want to buy a product and just call it a day. And I'm totally fine with that. I don't pay your bills. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. But because I have people in my life who fall in those categories, I'm just going to take a personal step back for a little bit and see how things change with the brand. And when I feel confident enough again that maybe they've made some changes or grown as people, then I will definitely come back. But I have to see that first, right? So just in case you don't see a lot of or any of Ensley Rain in my upcoming videos, I may be pulling them into months where I try the products and I'm wearing them in my videos, but I'm not going to talk about them and I'm not going to share that on my channel. So probably will be buying a lot more from Bella Beauty Bar and Cleona and Shine by SD and all those kinds of brands. But I'm going to take a little step back from Ensley Rain. So I just wanted to let you guys know, if you don't see anything like that on my channel, that's why. It's a personal choice of mine. And if I do talk about them, that'll be my choice to talk about them. I'm not telling anyone how to feel. I want to show my support in my way. And so I'm just going to do that for myself. So I hope you guys are all good with that. If not, that's totally fine. I'm still doing that. But thank you so much for everyone who's just patient with me while I see how things go. So that is everything that I've used up for the month. So I'm going to put these behind me over here because I have a whack load. I don't even know if I can lift this. Oh, I would be scared maybe to even, oh my God. Oh my God. I can't even lift it all. There's just way too many that I can't even like lift them all to show you. I'd be so scared of dropping. So let's just start right at the top. We have the Give Me Glow Vintage Rose eyeshadow palette. This is a staple. Oh my gosh, for February, this is definitely one of those eyeshadow palettes that you'll want to pull in. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got so beautiful shimmers in here. Absolutely gorgeous shimmers. I can't wait to play with that on my eyes, and it performs very, very well. Next, I have the Give Me Glow Vivid Rose, which is the larger version of the Vintage Rose and also like the sister palette to it. And this is mostly pinks and purples, or all pinks and purples. And yes, there are a couple very similar shades. Very similar shades in here that I feel like probably this one here could have been way lighter, and this one here could have been just a hair deeper, and then that would have been perfect. But I still love this eyeshadow palette and I love the way it performs, so that one will be rolling in as well. You're gonna see a lot of the pink and mauvey theme. So the next one is Smoke and Roses by ColourPop. Now I will show you another one shortly that I'm also comparing this to. There's 3 in here that are very similar to this color story. The first one is the ColourPop one, which looks like this, which I haven't really used a lot, if I'm going to be honest. I haven't used this one very much at all in my time of owning this, and so I feel like there's an opportunity for me to pull this out, play with it, and see how I feel about it, because maybe this is something that I could potentially travel with or get a little more use of if I feel like the quality and stuff is there. It'll just tell me how I feel about it. Next is the Norvina Volume 4. This is not so much the same color story, but the next one will be. But this one I thought, oh my gosh, it has so much pink in here. I am definitely bringing this in. And look at that yellow. Like, can we just take a moment and look at this gorgeous yellow right here? Oh my God, that doesn't really swatch very well, does it? And it's a pigment. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's actually really bright. So if I put a white under that, imagine even how much more vibrant. But that, oh yeah, that's a gorgeous yellow. It looks like a pastel yellow. In the palette, it looks like a neon, but it is actually a pastel yellow. So you'll have to build that up on the inner corner, but that's beautiful. There's a couple of glitters in the bottom here, and I will be surprised to say that when I was panning Volume 5 a couple years ago, when I used it for a full year for project panning, I almost hit pan in that glitter. I don't even remember if I did hit pan, but if I didn't, I was damn close. I don't think that will be happening this time. I'm not a super fan of glitter, but I will say they do have very nice glitters if I'm going to use any glitter. But there's a whole quad up here of just like nice neutrals. You can even go into little quads here or here and just grab like a little something and just like make a little look for yourself. But I feel like these kinds of palettes people find a little daunting, similar just because there's so many eyeshadows in here and they're kind of chaotic. There's no real theme or rhyme or reason to this, so it's just kind of like, whoa. But for me, my eyes dance and I have a lot of fun. And so I really, really enjoy this color story and I can't wait to play with this. This one you guys will see in my upcoming declutter video. I was actually very, what's the word? I'm thinking of a word in my head and it won't come out of my mouth. Can you guys have that? Compelled to declutter this palette and all my Morphe palettes. I did not do that, but watch the declutter video to see what happened. But I will say that I wanted to play with this one for sure because look at the color story. Now I'm going to pull out that same ColourPop one. I just have to play around a little bit because it's got a sleeve in it. This one is extremely similar. How am I going to do this? There we go. Can you guys see those? I can't tell if you can. I hope you can see them. I don't have a viewfinder, like I don't have a monitor or anything to share with you guys, but these color stories are so incredibly similar. The one thing about the ColourPop palette, I don't see any glitters. There is glitter within some of the shimmers, but I don't see any full-on glitters in this palette, which is great because I do not like the ColourPop glitters, I will be honest. But this one has such a very similar color story to the Smoke and Roses, so I'm going to try them back to back this month and see how I feel. If I absolutely, I'm so in love with this eyeshadow palette that I just can't even contain myself, there's no reason for me to hang on to this one. Or I hang on to this one for travel purposes only because I don't give a crap. Sometimes when I take certain eyeshadow palettes with me, something would to happen to them. That's why I take them with me, because I wouldn't miss them. You know what I mean? But there are more brown neutrals in the Morphe one. Along the sides, you can see there's some browns on either side, and there's a deep brown. I love the fact that in the ColourPop one, there are a few more brown, kind of like taupier kind of leaning shades, but there's also the dark brownish purple here and also a black. I love a black. I love a black eyeshadow. I love a dark outer corner. So I just feel like the ColourPop one is so pretty, but I also see that there are more like purple color shades down here. Not purple, but like raspberry. But at the same time, not a huge fan of Morphe, I'm not gonna lie, and these palettes are getting old. I just hate how they treated their employees and all that blah blah blah, but I can't just toss everything in my collection from everyone making mistakes, because I would have no makeup left, honestly. Like when you think about that, and I'm gonna go off on a little tangent kind of here, but I've been thinking a lot about, you know, the makeup community and the beauty community is very I follow these people because of their choices and who they are as people and blah, blah, blah. But do we do that with our groceries or our clothes or stuff like that? Like, yeah, our clothes we want to buy from sustainable sources and people who are paying people accordingly and not using sweatshops and stuff, obviously. But do we look at, like, you know, who they support and things like that? I don't really know that people do that. So I'm trying to throw that around in my mind when I think about the beauty stuff. I'm also thinking to myself, like, well, now because I make this choice with makeup, am I supposed to do that with every single thing in my life? Because then I would have to deep dive into every single person that owns something of what I own, and I would have like nothing left if that was the case. So I'm just like putting it out there, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, I don't know. Okay, so that was my little tangent. But I also am making choices for myself, so I just don't expect anyone else to follow suit or anything. Just do what's right for you. Okay, next, BH Cosmetics Nightshade, and I've never used it. Has the cover on it, and it's absolutely gorgeous, but do I need it in my collection when I have all these other purple and stuff palettes? But like, oh, these colors are gorgeous, and BH Cosmetics, you can't get this stuff anymore, so I'm not parting with it at all. I just want to be conscious of, like, what do I own and how much of what do I have? Will I be able to touch everything? I have over 200 palettes, so I really need to play with things this year in every aspect of my collection and kind of deep dive and see, like, what do I want to hang on to? All right, next thing I have is Untouched, which is the ColourPop All That eyeshadow palette. I believe that's what it's called. It says All That Pressed Powder Palette on the back. So I'm thinking like that's what it's called. And I bought this because I love red eyeshadow. And I was like, ooh, this is going to have so many reds. What a boring palette. What a boring, boring, boring palette. No wonder I haven't touched this yet. It's so womp, womp, womp. It just looks like peachy. Just very peachy. Like this shade and kind of this shade looks the same, but then these two look the same. I'm like, I don't know. So I'm going to try it. I'm going to toss this. Or not toss, I'm going to recycle. Another one that I haven't touched yet, which was gifted to me by my beautiful friend, my bestie, Andrea. This is the Glamlite Icy Cherry palette. She also got me the blue one. I don't remember what it's called, but the blue one I'm saving because I wear that when I watch my hockey team because they have blue in their color. And this one I was like, you know what? This is the perfect color story for February. So I'm bringing this in. Super gorgeous. Can't get this anymore either. It has, oh, can you get this one still? I don't know if Glamlite has this still. I don't think they have this anymore. So of course I'm like, yeah, gonna love on that one. Next, Pat McGrath Utopian Dreams. I figured that would be the most obvious, even though every single palette has rose colors in them. I figured this would be the most obvious color story for like the month of love, right? February for Valentine's Day. And I can make some neutral looks out of this as well. And there's like a couple of shifty shades in here, so I'm going to use that one. Next, oh, you guys, I'm only like halfway done here. I have a ton of palettes. I realized that in the last couple months, I have not really used my Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. So I decided to pull in 3 of them. You can guess which ones they are. I'm sure you can tell me without even me showing them to you. So I'll give you 2 seconds. If you want to pause, throw it in the comments. Let me know which 3 you think I'm bringing in for this month. And we'll see if you can guess it before I continue to tell you. Okay, now I'm going to start and tell you. I have the Natasha Denona Love eyeshadow palette here, which I haven't touched in a while. I love the fact that the bottom feels like rubbery almost because it's easy to hold. And this color story, I really enjoy this. And I feel like I was the one person, maybe not the one, but like one of the very few who really, really enjoyed this palette when it came out. That being said, I haven't barely touched it. And I'm not sure that these shimmers are going to be giving me all the life that I need when it comes to my eyeshadow. I don't know. Well, they seem okay. They seem okay. Meh. Now that I've been using indie eyeshadows, like nothing compares, okay? Nothing compares. But I'm bringing in the Love palette. I'm also bringing in the Retro palette. And this one is absolutely gorgeous. Again, similar to the ColourPop palette and the Morphe palette. So I have to play with these 3 this month and decide if I need all 3. I really want to make sure that I'm being committed to the palettes that I'm using, and just I want to appreciate the stuff in my collection. This one is getting a little older, but I still feel like it could perform well. But there's a lot of hard pan, especially you can see this shade right here, which is my favorite shade in the whole entire palette, and it hard pans every single time I use it. And last but not least, this is probably going to be a little bit harder to guess, but I'm bringing in the face palette, which is the Love face palette, which I am sorry, it's dirty. It gets dirty. It's metallic. We're all going to just live with it just fine. But I'm bringing in this for the month. My son's crying because he wants to come into the room, so I got to hurry up. But I have a blush and a highlight in here, which I haven't used. The highlight came to me severely broken, so I repressed it in here. And everything else was okay except for this. Also, this one was crushed, so I had to repress that one a little bit. But this one has a very small, quick, easy face color story. and I think I could do really well with this one. Although when I look at this, I feel like this is just not so much a shade I gravitate toward, but I will definitely use it. And I feel like this is just a little bit too peachy for the rest of the palette. Like, give me a Barbie pink, explosively sparkly eyeshadow. Like, that's what I want when I use these two, and then this to deepen is like an explosive shimmery eyeshadow. That is not the explosive shimmery shadow that I'm looking for. It's pretty, but it's not like, I want the one that was, I think it was called Barb, and it was in the ABH palette, the pink one, the baby pink one. I can't remember what it was called. I've never had it, but that's what I envision in my mind when I look at that, is something explosive like that. So that was what I would have preferred. Oh, maybe something from this palette, which is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz eyeshadow palette. So I will be bringing that in for the month. And I'm thinking something like this even. Really sparkly, bright, shimmery, and pink, and just like pink just like pooped all over my eye. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is what I want, with like a little bit of like sparkle. Oh, that's gorgeous. That is gorgeous. Okay, let's play around with this shade. That's the cream shade that people always are icky at. Let's play with that. It doesn't look like anything. It just feels like wet and goopy. It doesn't do anything for the eye. So that one I won't even really use. It's called Lovestone. I don't know why I'm swatching these all of a sudden. I haven't even used this shade, which is called Quartz. I have never used that shade. I can wonder why. Boring. But anyhow, I'm definitely going to be playing with this a little bit. It's a little more of a cool tone take on Valentine's Day, but we all need our good, like, beautiful, grungy, gothy, gorgeous, romantic makeup too. So that's awesome. This one, I can already tell you it's going to be my peak. I can already tell you that it's going to be my peak for the month. Glaminatrix Rich Romantic. I have never tried this yet. It's still in the wrapper. It hasn't even been unboxed, and I can tell you it's probably going to be my peak. So I don't want to get rid of this. It's just too cute. So we're going to do this together. I was going to do this off camera, but I decided to wait. Oh, yeah. So beautiful. I do love that this is more like sparkly and holographic. I wish they could get that same quality and holographic and stuff on the leathery feel, but it may just not be able to happen. But still, I just think that's so beautiful. Full-size mirror. There's nothing to pull off. Sorry. And then this. Oh my goodness. This is like, what is it called? Vivid Rose on crack. Like, I know that's a terrible term, but this is absolutely gorgeous, stunning, multi-chrome, duochrome, shimmery goodness with the most gorgeous, beautiful matte shades. And I can't wait to put this on my eyes. I think I may even use this tomorrow. Don't be surprised if you see the Bella Beauty Bar Ultraviolet palette come back into my collection for the month of February, because it was absolutely phenomenal. I will tell you, I loved it. So you'll probably see it, I'm sure, in a couple of months, but I'm trying to be conscious and pull in stuff that's not repeats every month. I want to, but I'm trying so hard and trying to be like conscious of that, because I want to make sure I touch everything. And if I don't touch it, there's probably a reason. So, but there's also a great reason that if I do touch it that much, I love it. Anyhow, yeah, I have so many palettes that are coming in. I don't want to lift this because Rich Romantic's on top and I don't want it to fall, but I can lift maybe like a couple up. Anyhow, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate your support, and thank you for listening to my little speeches and my little tangents and thought processes. And I do want to hear your thoughts in the comments, but at the same time, I just want to give them a step, like NC Rain. I want to give them a chance to do better, because as a human being, I'm not perfect, and I would love if I ever made a mistake or did something that someone didn't enjoy or like whatever, I would want to be able to, I forget the terminology again. I just want to be able to show that I have grown and that I'm working on things and I'm trying to be better. So I want to give that same opportunity to the brand. But I'm just, yeah. So I'll take a step back for a little bit from that. But I really appreciate everybody watching. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you like the video and subscribe and go check out Deb, of course, because we want to try and encourage her to be back. So go and watch her last video and hit that like button because we want to see her back fully all the time. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.